Guys, I'm super excited to announce that I finally have a merch drop, and it is live now for only 72 hours. It's been months in the making, and there's a huge giveaway involved as well, so I really just want to take some time and announce this, tell you guys what it's all about, because it's huge. 5 people who purchase anything from the merch drop is eligible to win a Vegas experience. I'm giving away 5 of these people. I'm flying 5 people out to Vegas for a weekend, the first weekend of WSOP. They can bring a +1 and a friend. The travel is going to be comped. The stay in Vegas, you're going to stay on the Strip, is going to be comped. And as well, there's going to be a semi-private meetup game with me. We're going to play some 1-3. Oh, and guess what? Your $300 buy-in is going to be comped as well. So it's going to be super fun. I'm excited to just host everyone here. I know I post a lot of videos where I'm in Vegas a lot, and why not show you guys the experience? I can actually bring you guys the actual experience of being in Vegas. During the WSOP, we'll play a private little 1-3 game splash round for a few hours, maybe go to a show. That will probably be comped as well because, you know, you guys deserve it for supporting me and I want to give this experience to you guys. So that's what's going on. The merch drop is something very, very different and unique. I wanted to do something that was above the normal, like clothing and whatever it may be. So I had partnered up with a few friends and we dropped some jewelry. We got some rings here. This is the spade ring that I always have on my finger. Definitely by far my favorite in the drop in general. As well, you have on my left ring, there is a pink gold ring here. You might have also seen it in the videos on my hand as well. Whenever I peel the cards, what you were seeing was like a prototype, but this has been refined and this is the final product. There's also a silver version of the pink gold ring as well, which I really love. So your preference between silver and gold. And last but not least, there is a necklace if rings aren't your thing. I'm just really excited to announce this. It's live for only 72 hours. You have the 4 products to choose from, and it's going to be a randomizer giveaway. Each single product has a different tier in terms of how many entries you can win. So essentially the spade ring, because it costs more than the others, is worth more entries into this giveaway, and you have a higher chance to win if you bought this necklace. So this has been months in the making. All the items are made with real gold, besides this one because it's made with tungsten. All the pieces as well are handcrafted, and because of that, there's actually a limited supply on every single item. So if you want to get in there, I'd appreciate it if you want to support the channel and also have a chance to come out to Vegas, wherever you are, international, national. Happy to fly you guys out and have a good time here in Vegas and hang out with you guys. So it's only live for 72 hours. It ends on Thursday, and I'll announce the winners probably next week or the end of this week. I'm excited to just launch this, and hopefully you guys are excited about this as I am. Let's get into the video. I'm done talking, but I'm looking forward to seeing 5 of you guys in Vegas. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Today in this video, we're going to be playing a $10,000 high roller buy-in tournament at the Wynn here in Las Vegas. Play against some pretty tough opponents, some splashy fun opponents, and I'm trying to make a deep run at this thing with over $300,000 for first place. It's a one-day event. Can we spin up $10,000 into $300,000 in what, like 12 hours? One way to find out. Let's get into the video. Let me always think about these high roller tournaments, and let's get into the hands. No better way to start off a $10,000 buy-in than picking up kings in level 1. I raised it up to 2,500 and I get the cutoff player to make the call, and we're going heads up to a flop of deuce 3-5 rainbow. I check it over to him as I think he's going to hit this more, and this is not a board I want to bet a lot, and he decides to throw out 3,500. Music to my ears. I think I have the best hand. I'm going to check raise for value. I bump it up to 14,000, and guess what? Immediately, my opponent 3-bets to 35,000. Oh my god. Okay, very interesting dynamics here for sure. This opponent looks like a recreational player, definitely not a pro. And do I think he's just going to blast off in level 1 of this turn-K tournament? I can't fold kings, obviously, but I am a little bit scared now at this point that he might have a set, because that's obviously very, very possible. Anyways, kings, too strong to fold. I make the call, but I'm not feeling comfortable. We're off to a turn, which is a jack. I check it over to him, and now he decides to throw out a small bet of 13,000. I am all kinds of confused now. I'm not sure what to do with only 50,000 behind in my stack, and I don't want to value own myself and go all in because I do still believe he might have a jack, so I just make the call. I really am confused. We're off to a river now, which is an 8. I guess I've got to stack off if my opponent wants to bet, but action quickly goes check, check. He shows ace, jack, and I win. Would have been rough, unfortunately. I could have gotten all of it on the turn here, but my opponent takes a very unorthodox play. It almost got me to believe his story, but I'll take the first pot of the day up to 145,000 from 100,000 starting. Next, we see a premium again, pocket jacks and the low jack. We're getting all these premiums in level 1. I raise up to 2,500 and the big blind player makes the call. We're going to a flop of king 7 deuce rainbow. He checks it over to me and I throw it a bet of 2,000. And of course, my opponent, who is known for being quite aggressive, check raises to 6,500. All right. Well, this is an interesting situation here. I just don't think my opponent can be check raising this board too often. So I'm going to make the call. We're going to a turn which is the 3 of hearts, brings in a backdoor flush draw. My opponent checks it over to me here, and I don't see much merit to betting here. I only get better hands than mine to make the call, and I fold out all of his bluffs. So I'm going to check this one back, and we're off to a river, which is a deuce. My opponent thinks about it for a long time before overbetting the pot to 24,000, about the size of the pot here. I think I have an easy call because there isn't a whole lot of value as played. I mean, King X could certainly be in here, but that's a little greedy for this bet. I toss in a chip, and he has ace deuce. How fun is that? After winning a big one with kings, we lose a big one with jacks, and we're back to starting stack. It's almost like nothing ever happened. Progressing on to level 3 now. Blinds have increased, and I pick up 10-7 of clubs in the big blind. Button player, Buddy Aggro Aram is what people call him. He raises it up to 4,500. I decide to defend. This is the same opponent whom I played the jacks hand with last time. We're off to a flop which comes 10-9-8, 2 spades and a club. I check it over to him with top pair and open-ended, and he makes it 4,000. Here, I'm just going to make the call. I think I have a really good hand, and I don't see much merit to check raising, to be honest here. So we're going to a turn, which is the ace of hearts. Not the best card for me to see, and when I check it over to my opponent, he makes it 25,000. Sizing way up here, going super polarized, and I'm going to think things over because it's a little bit tricky now. Obviously, I am going to make the call and continue because I have a very good hand to do so, but let's see what hands he could play this way. Some heart draws. He can play some queen highs, some king highs. There's a lot of bluffs that he's going to be doing this with because the ace is such a good card for my opponent. At the end of the day, I obviously make the call, and we're going to be battling to the river, which is the 8 of diamonds. Essentially a brick with the bottom card pairing. Very unfortunate that I didn't get there with the straights or, I don't know, trips or whatever it may be that would make it an easy call. I check it over to my opponent thinking that he's probably going to blast off, and he does. He shoves all in, and it's about 90,000 effective for my stack. This is not a fun spot, guys. When you're playing against a very aggressive and capable opponent, you know he has plenty of bluffs, but at the same time, he's also going to have some value. He's going to have ace 10, he's going to have ace 9, ace 8, all of these 2-pair combos as well that might have turned into a full house. So at the end of the day, I use 2 time banks. I use a full minute to think things over, and my hand just seems pretty strong. Seems like a really good bluff catcher and bluff candidate because he's repping such a very thin amount of value hands. In my hand with a 10 in it, blocks some full houses, and with a 7, it blocks some straights. So I stick in a call for my tournament life, and he shows Jack 3 of hearts. Let's freaking go. A huge pot to win. It's nice to make the right decision here, making the right call. And just like that, with second pair and a dream, I have over 200,000 chips in my stack, 2x starting here, and I have about 100 big blinds early on. On to level 4 we go. We get into another spicy one with pocket 9s in the low jack. There's an ungun open of 6,000. He's off about 33 big blinds in a stack. I decide to make the call, and the big blind comes along as well. So 3 ways to a flop of beautiful 9-8-5. Top set. How beautiful is this? The 2 opponents end up actually checking over to me, and, you know, I would consider top set a very good hand. The board is pretty connected. There's a flush draw out there, so I decide to throw out a larger sizing of 7,500 here. Multi-way, I want to get some chips in the middle here, of course, and when the big blind decides to make the call, we are going to a turn, which is a 6. Ew. Not the best card to see. Not that I'm afraid of any 7s getting there, because I don't think many people will be calling with the gut shots. I just think that it's going to be harder for me to get value, but we're going to at least try, right? My opponent checks it over to me again, and I'm going to bet 25,000. And sizing up here, still thinking I can get value from 2-pair combos or flush draws. My opponent makes the call once again. So we've got a big pot ballooning. We're off to a river, which is a bank 8.
That's right, filling up, the flush draw misses, and I'm sitting with a full house. My opponent checks one more time with about 85,000 in her stack, give or take. What else am I going to do with the full house? It's going to be all in. Let's get in there. I shove, and my opponent goes into the tank, uses a few time chips, and ultimately tosses in a chip for a call. Let's freaking go. We're getting paid here. Pocket nines, full house, top boat is going to win this one. Here we are, chip stack ballooning up. We're building with over 300,000 now in my stack.
Hey, quick little update right now, everyone. End of late reg, and I feel great. It has been a long time. If you follow me on Instagram, it's been a struggle with tournaments so far, but right now there's a chance. I'm just saying there's life and there's hope. I have almost 5 starting stacks, 475,000 at the end of late reg right now. Things have been going pretty smooth. I've been winning some big pots. I've been able to build up. And yeah, I don't have the softest table either, which is a little concerning, but the rest of the field's pretty tough, and it's going to be fun to navigate through it. So interesting to see how much money is going to be up top, how many people end up registering and maxing this tournament. But I'm excited. There's life. We still got to run good the rest of the way, but there's a chance.
We're skipping a few levels here. There are 93 entrants and 46 players left, and we see we have ace-5 of hearts on the button. Both small blind and big blind are short, so I'm going to go all in with this hand. Big blind snap calls with ace-queen off suits. Crap. We both flop a pair, but the queen is going to hold. I double up the big blind of about 57,000, just under 10 big blinds. Small loss, but hey, we've been building. I have over 400,000 still in my stack. Everything's been going so well for me so far in this tournament, and we're progressing again, and I see another pair. Pocket 8s in the small blind. There's a hijack player, Sean Winter, very good opponent. He limps in for 8,000. Cutoff player next to act ends up raising to 22,000 as he's the chip leader of this table. Here with 8s, I feel like it's a really weird spot in this configuration. But with 50 big blinds, I am just going to make the call. 3-betting seems really weird. So I call, and Sean Winter ends up calling as well off about 200,000. Well, we're going to a flop of Queen 8-4. 2 diamonds and a club. I mean, it's just my tournament to win, right? Unfortunately, no action on this flop. Action checks around. To a turn we go, which is the queen of clubs, boating up another full house, and there's 2 flush draws on the board. I decide to check it over to my opponents, praying that they're going to make a stab at this, and Sean does that exactly. He throws out a bet of 20,000. Cutoff ends up folding, and obviously it's time to raise with my very disguised full house, hoping my opponent has a queen, maybe they have a flush draw, but I decided to choose a check raise sizing of 75,000. Probably could go a little bit bigger sometimes, says I'm trying to get it all in on the river, but here we are, 75,000 to go. Sean makes the call. We're off to a river, which is the king of hearts. Complete brick. I think I have a very interesting situation here. I think most times against most opponents, I just get it all in and get a queen to call. But the issue is that most opponents aren't Sean Winter. So with that said, I try to look bluffy. Who freaking knows? I bet 100,000 opposed to betting 150,000, which would have put him all in. So I put him almost all in with like betting 75% of his stack, and my opponent tanks. He uses a time bank, seems confused about the spot, and rightfully so because I chose such a weird sizing, and he ends up making the call, and I show the winner. Of course, the full house is going to win. I never know what Sean ended up having, but of course, I certainly left some chips and money on the table by not going all in. Let me know what you guys think about this hand. It's against a very particular opponent that I decided to do this with, and let me know if you guys would have done the same thing. All right, with over 600,000 in my stack, we are steamrolling right now, and I pick up kings again under the gun. I raise it up to 16,000, and I get the big blind to make the call. Another recreational player here, and we're going to a flop of Jack 10-9, 2 diamonds. Very, very interesting flop here as it's super connected. Lots of things can beat me, but I have kings. So I throw out a bet of 25,000 here, and my opponent makes the call for 25,000. Turn comes an interesting one. King. Yep. Top set. Just like last time, how I had top set with 9s. Another tricky spot, but a little bit different as I think some draws get there. My opponent checks over to me, and against this specific recreational opponent, I decided to go for some very, very thin value, which might be a mistake because I bet 55,000 and my opponent takes his time and ends up check raising to 175,000. Well, this is a horrible nightmare situation spot. That's why you're supposed to check back in with hands like these. And the sizing is also weird because this leaves him with only 125,000 left. Very annoying, and it's not very fun to fold top set, mind you, especially against someone who I can't imagine to be bluffing, to be honest. But I want to fold. My brain says fold. My hands say shove. There's a huge disconnect. Why did I do that? I don't know, guys, because he obviously makes the call with ace queen. He only turned the nuts. I need to pair the board, please. Come on, I will have over 1 million chips if I pair, and no. 8 of diamonds on the river. I'm going to double up my opponent in a very, very massive 800,000 chip pot. I am very bad at this game. If I check back the turn, results-wise, the river was going to be so bad that I don't really lose anything with top sets. But instead, I punted off a lot of chips, over $50,000 worth of equity in this hand. I'm bad. Please roast me in the comments below, because I need to hear it. All right, we're short stack now, but not really, with only 30 big blinds to play with. I pick up King Jack offsuit in the small blind with the hijack player, who's the chip leader at the table, opens up to 20,000. Expect him to be super aggressive now as we're getting closer and closer to the money. And I have a good hand to call, so I'm in there. I call, big blind folds. Flop comes queen, 9, 6, 2 spades, and not a bad flop here. I have a spade, I have a gut shot straight draw. I check it over to my opponent, and he throws out 25,000. Seems like a little bit of a larger sizing here, but I think sometimes here I have a very good candidate to check raise. Like I said, my hand wraps around the queen very well, and, you know, having a spade helps. So I check raise to 70,000, and my opponent snap, 3-bet all in my face. He's going to snap shove like an additional 200,000 more on top of my raise. That's a pretty strong move. I snap fold. I'm annoyed.
Well, that is a brutally unfortunate couple hands. King's hand, I lost my mind. It's a tough pill to swallow. It did happen like 50 minutes ago, and I'm still pretty salty and sour about it because quick math in my head, like 300K, give or take, was 3x starting stacks. We're pretty deep into the tournament, so 3x starting stacks equals $30,000. Pretty deep in the tournament, about 30% of the field left. Less than that is worth a little bit even more. Means I torched at a minimum $50,000 in equity in that hand. How that hand should go is check turn, he bets river, I fold top set. That would have saved me a lot. And then, of course, my check raise bluff didn't work with the King Jack. Anyways, we're 24 players left, final 3 tables. I have 20 big blinds going in. I'm short. 11 players make the money. 13 people need a bust. So we're not really that close to making the money, but we are running somewhat close to the money. It's weird. Final 3 tables, but 11 people make the money. So like less than 50% of the field pay right now. Just under that. We gotta win some all-ins. Gotta find the sun run again. Just like feels bad to work my way up to a big stack of like almost 700,000 and then poof, torch the fucking stack because I lost my mind with top set. Moving on.
Progressing to level 10 now, blinds are increasing and my stack is not increasing. I have ace-4 of clubs in +1 and raise it up to 24,000. Get the big blind to make the call here, and we're going to a flop of 9-4 deuce 2 hearts. My opponent checks over to me here with middle pair. I can kind of go either way with a bet or check. You know, pretty frustrated. I'm going to bet very thin for value, hoping to just take it down right now. I bet 22,000. And for this price, my opponent calls. So we got some alarm bells going off here, and we're off to a turn, which is the jack of spades. 2 flush draws on the board. I think it's a pretty easy decision to just check this one back. Now, though, we see a magical river, which is the ace of diamonds. So hitting 2 pair, all the flush draws missed, and my opponent fires out a pretty large bet of 70,000. It's pretty big. Finally get a chance to win a hand again. Come on. I make the call, and he shows pocket 9s. Oh my goodness. A brutal downfall from over 800,000 in my stack. I have 85,000 in front of me, and I'm the big blind next hand. With 5 big blinds, I peel 9-5 off suit. That's going to be a fold. But here's the situation. There's 20 players left. I have 7 big blinds. I see pocket 3s. I jam all in. Player to my left snap calls with piles. So this can't be good, but he ends up showing ace king. I'm actually ahead, and we're off to a run out.
Favorite, you're killing.
I know. I feel really good about this.
You should feel better.
Chop it up.
Yeah, I would like a chop with Rampage. I like him so much.
Chop it up.
Come on, I'll take a chop.
I'll take a chop.
Come on. We did it.
Somehow we chop. I don't know how. Find a way to still be alive in this thing. And then here in the next deal, there's a hijack player who raises to 25,000. I peel pocket sevens on a very small stack. Well, I'm all in. The button makes the call here, and that's very, very scary to see a cold call of an all-in. Always seems really strong. Anyways, the hijack calls as well, so I have a very interesting opportunity to potentially triple up. We're off to a flop of 8-6-5 rainbow. I've got a pair and a straight draw. They both end up checking, so it doesn't seem like they hit the board. Turn Bink 9. Auto with the straight. You gotta think I have the best hand here. Basically praying that I'm gonna get this triple up now. And they both end up checking again, so I've definitely got the best hand. River comes another 8. Doesn't really change much. Don't expect them to have any full houses here as played. Hijack checks. Button player bets out 88,000. Oh my God, please don't have a boat, I guess I'm praying, because he's betting pretty big on the river. Hijack ends up tank folding. The button shows pocket kings. I find the triple up, and I have over 200,000 back in my stack with 17 players left. This is a real big sweat. And this next hand gets dicey because action folds all the way to me, and I peel king 5 offsuit in the small blind. I just decide to go all in with my 13 big blinds, praying to get a fold, and my opponent does not with ace 7 offsuit. I need to hit this one and flop a 5. Let's freaking go. Oh my God. Hit my 5. It ends up holding. I double up to over 400,000. What a spin up from just a few big blinds. We're back in this tournament, baby. In the very next deal, we're getting involved. I see a premium of ace king offsuit. We're on the button here, and there's a low jack raise of 30,000. He only has about 20 big blinds in his stack, and this hand is going to be a good one. I decided to 3-bet small to 75,000 here. Can go either a small 3-bet or just all in with this hand. And when action folds to my opponent here, he ends up making the call on a pretty small stack. So we're going to navigate this one. Flop comes jack 6 deuce rainbow. My opponent checks over to me. I'm going to use a very small sizing as we're closer and closer to the money. I bet 40,000 and he makes the call. Turn comes the 8 of spades. Brings in a backdoor flush draw now, and when my opponent checks over to me, maybe I can continue bluffing if the river is a spade. Having one in my hand is pretty advantageous here, so I'm going to play this like I have aces or kings. I go with another small bet of 65,000. The opponent has about 200,000 in his stack, and I don't expect him to fold a hand like 10s or 9s, but definitely will make him uncomfortable. Anyways, he does end up making the call here, and we go see a river, which is a bink king. We actually end up spiking value and top pair. My opponent checks one more time, and I don't really know what is going to call an all-in, but I can't imagine checking this hand back as it's so strong. So I go all in, trying to get crying calls by ace-jack, or maybe somehow he has queens even. I jam. He quickly makes the call with 8, turning the set. Pretty unfortunate beat here, unfortunately. If the turn was an 8, I think I win this hand all the time. But as things were trying to spin their way up, I run into a brick wall, and I'm back down to just 100,000 chips. 7 big blinds in a dream. 7 big blinds in a dream comes into this situation with king 10 offsuit. I have 4.5 big blinds under the gun. I'm all in. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with 4 bigs, but here we are. Player to my left isolates to 125,000, which is immediately not great news. Ends up folding all the way around, and we see we're up against ace 10. At least have ace queen or something, man. I'm totally dominated, and I flop a king. Of course. Of course. I luck box into a double up here. I'm up to 10 big blinds, but I'm not out of the woods yet, because next hand I'm in the big blind, so I only have about 9 big blinds in my stack, and I peel pocket deuces. This middle position player opens it up to 30,000. He's been very, very active so far. I think I have to go all in. I'm by far the shortest stack in the tournament. I don't really want to soft bubble, but if I have to do it, I've got to die. I'm all in, and my opponent tanks. A fold would be really, really sick, but he ends up calling. We're going to be flipping, hopefully. He has queen jack of spades, and come on. Let's hold, please, dealer.
Very well now.
Wow. Fuck.
Oh,
Fuck.
back over. Couldn't spin. All right.
He turns the world and spikes the flush. GG's. I'm going to lose this one. This would have been a crazy, crazy spin up and roller coaster ride to hopefully make the money here, but I'm out in 16th place after a very, very dramatic turn of events.
All right, there's only so many times that you can double up and suck out like over and over again. So that was a fun ride while it lasted. Yeah, the ace king and 8-10 kind of sucked, but out in 16th, that is not a cash, but welcome to high roller tournaments, small field tournaments. There's a lot of playability when you're really close to the money, so it's kind of ridiculous. You gotta get really lucky. And I torched with the kings. It all comes down to the king's hand where I torched it all, so that is what it is. GG's, thanks so much for watching. Fucking roller coaster emotions that I'm still trying to come down from, but I tried. And we're on to the next one, I guess. 300K for first place, not for me today.